Okay, so thank you, Wayne, for the introduction, and suggest we get straight into our conversations with our experts, Ned and Daniel here today. So the first topic that we want to really go into is sort of the digital relationship, right? Does it really replace the face-to-face relationship? What is the omni-channel experience looking like, and how does that look like going forward? Can we have the best of both worlds? Maybe we start with Ned.
Thanks, Alex. It's a great question, and one that has come up time and time and again as we've gone through the Sing Life experience. Clearly, the main proposition that we had at Sing Life was to digitally enable the customer. But as we've gone through that journey, we've realized just how important the human interaction and the advisor experience also is. And so now a lot of the time that we're taking, particularly as we come together with Aviva, is how do we digitally enable the advisor workforce? And so, as you say, take the best of both worlds. People do want to talk to people, particularly for more complex products. It's not always so easy to understand the nuances of things. But if you can build trust with the customer, they also want to do some self-service as well. So finding the best of those two different experiences is important. And of course, using data and analytics, et cetera, to enable the financial advisor to be able to provide the best advice really sort of gives you the sort of like the chess player with a computer is better than a chess player or a computer. And that's really how I see it going. Daniel, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I tend to agree on that one, and that's also. So I'm based out of in the Nordics, and we see that here as well. So here in the Nordics, we say that we're quite digitally advanced, we're far ahead, but still most of the insurance they're not sold through pure digital channels. There's a hybrid, and I can just take my own experience as well. I actually haven't bought any insurances without talking to someone. I think perhaps a couple of like smaller ones. So having that, even when I work within insurance, having that person to talk to, that's quite important, I think, and will be. So you are insuring your house or your car. You want to know what's covered in there. So enabling both actually the actual client and the advisor to easily understand what they're buying and have that in an easy and understandable way. I think that's really important. And I think we can have the best of both worlds. So there is we know that there's a high cost of acquisition of customers within the insurance industry, but we can get that down if we actually enable agents, if we enable the customers to easily understand, to easily purchase online and easily get assistance if they need that. And of course, in order to do that, you also need to be on the channels and the devices that your clients are on. So that's whole, the buzzword omni-channel. But I think that's really important. So if I prefer to use WhatsApp, if I prefer to call someone, I should have those options. I think that's quite important that you're aligning towards your customers and their preferred channels, and support with information there.
Like just one additional point on that. I think we've been talking a lot about face-to-face when we talk about humans, and this whole COVID experience has taught us anything, is that there are ways that we can still have a human interaction, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in person. And then once you've got that as your starting point, there's all sorts of interesting things you can do around co-browsing experiences where the advisor is filling out half of the form, but the customer is filling out the other half. And I think that there's some really interesting experiences that we could build there as well.
So just building off of that, talking about experiences and nuances of understanding the customer, there's this whole, emphasis and push into data analytics within the insurance industry. And I would say, a lot of that's on the back of risk analytics, right? Because, obviously it's an insurance company and risk is a very natural area to go into, but and customer analytics has often been ignored, but that's coming to the fore now. So in your view, what is the role of data analytics in understanding customers better? Maybe Ned.
Okay, sure. Sorry. It's such an exciting time to be in technology with the data explosion going on right now. And I'll give you one specific example that I think is such an important showcase of where data can be used. And this is around lead generation and lead matching. If I can truly understand my customer base and I can understand their particular wants and needs, their demographic, their salary and their lifestyle, and I can also understand that around the advisory and the agent force that I have, and then match the two sides together, then the chance that someone is going to get the advice that it most resonates with them and therefore most likely to make a purchase is much higher. And so by gathering as much data as you can using relatively sort of well understood segmentation models now to say this type of customer is most likely to get the best advice from this type of advisor, can raise conversion rates significantly. And at the Aviva side, that was something that was built out and has done a fantastic job in terms of lead conversion. And it's coming from Singlife as this merger has happened. I was blown away by the maturity of that, and it's really an exciting space to be in right now.
I think there also, so if you're going to meet on the customer expectations, I can't remember now if it was Mckinsey or Deloitte who said that, published that, but yeah, 80% of customers expect that you actually personalize their offering. So they expect that you use the data that you have on them to give them more customized offering or offerings that fits their situation. So I think that's quite important to also remember that it's not just an opportunity for insurers, it's also something that's perhaps is expected by the clients. But there are also, so here in EMEA, 90% of insurance companies say that they struggle to get value out of data analytics. So I think that there's huge improvement areas and a lot of value that can be taken out of it. So if I would actually expect, and I actually don't think that, again, taking my own personal situation, I don't think any company has actually contacted me where I thought that this is a really good fit for me. So they know that I'm 35 years old. They know I have a house. They know I have a car. They know I have 3 kids. They should use that much more to, make me the best offers. Because ultimately, insurance isn't something you go out and buy. It's normally something you're sold to. And I think using the data analytics, there's huge opportunity that's there.
So that's interesting. You mentioned 90% don't find or getting the most out of the data analytics work. What will be the unlock here? What can unlock that situation to really drive the utility or the usefulness of data analytics and really making it sure that it's embedded into the business?
Yeah, well, I can jump on first there if you want. I would say, there's several elements. And one, you need to have the right people to understand the analytics, so to actually work with it, know what they need to capture in and how they should use that. But then I think it's really important to not just have a data warehouse somewhere that someone knows about. You need to actually get that integrated into your process. Having dashboards or something at the fingertips of the users who actually need to apply this information. And of course, that can be, if you're in a more insurance advisor role, right? You actually talk to a customer that is in a dashboard about that customer, so you have that information easily available. Or of course, it could be more on the analytics team where they have more of a holistic view of all the customers and drill down to different segments and use that to create products that fit well for those demographics. So having the right people and having it easily available, so having it integrated into your business processes, because I think that's one of the issues, that you have a lot of the data, but it's perhaps not as easily available, or it's not integrated into the process that you normally work on.
I think similar to that is, it's important, I think, for us to realize just how early in the journey we are. And I don't think everybody necessarily has truly understood the potential of some of this stuff. And obviously, if you work in tech or you work in data, then of course you do. I mean, maybe more deeply into the business. And I think one of the things that we're playing around with the idea of is having sort of data advocates or data evangelists who sit in the business units, who just go around sort of whacking people with a stick and saying, "We've thought about the data application, we've thought about the dashboarding here," because if it doesn't naturally come to you, if you haven't got that natural fluency in data, then perhaps sometimes you just don't think about it. But I'm sure it'll come.
Yeah, and I think also choosing the right use cases as you start off, because some are more conducive than others to launching this kind of stuff. So having the right corporate lens, if you will, on what use cases you select, which ones resonate the most, which one will penetrate the most, and so forth will be quite key. So just building off of the data stuff, right? So obviously taking data and taking it to the next level on product simplification is a key topic, a very hot topic among many insurers in the region. What is your view of the go forward strategy for product offerings or propositions, which many people call it? Like, what is that looking like? How will it look like? What needs to change, etc.
You go first this time, Daniel.
Daniel?
Can I go first? Yeah, well, so building on what we've talked before, using the data actually to have good product, or create products that fit well is of course important. Here in Norway, it's a bit different. So I'm not sure if we're different than a lot of other companies, but we have more of these portfolio insurances. So you have everything at one insurance carrier, whereas you just go to a neighboring country and it's more sold individual. So there is some differences there around customers or countries as well. But I would say that it's important to use the data that you have to create the best product for the best, or for that's more customized to the customers that you're attracting, and trying to enrich the offering so that you actually, I as a user see that, or as a client see that I have some value out of it. It's not just my insurance, it's something that I can get more value out of. And I think that's quite important, because there's a lot of opportunities in the insurance market now that's not being used. So, basically making me feel that I have a relationship with my insurance. I don't want to use my insurance. I know I have to have it. I need to, I have a need for it. I don't want to use it. But trying to build that also into the product offering, I think that's really, a big opportunity. So simple example, saying on your house insurance that you have Netflix integrated into it. Because then I'll actually, if not every day, quite regularly at least, use my insurance, because I get some value add from it. So when I actually want to watch something on Netflix, I actually log in on the app that's provided by my insurance carrier. I think that's quite important. And perhaps using, when we talked about closing the digital gap around customers, so using the opportunities that's out there. So now I'm perhaps going a bit out of the specific product offering, but building in more. So if we're still on the house or the villa insurance that I talked about, saying that we can build up some loyalty and build up some more use cases for me to want to use it. So saying that you add some reminders of, now you actually have to remember to change your batteries in the smoke detectors. Build some simple stuff like that. And if I check that, so saying that, now I've done it, then give me a reward for it. So I'm inclined to, I want to do it because I know I also get some benefit back, which of course from the insurance carrier side, if they know that, well, the house now has good smoke detectors, then there's lower risk as well. So use that to build that loyalty. Use the data, customize offering for the client, and use the digital channels and all the technologies that you have available there to build up that loyalty and reach the offering that you have. So you have build on more customer value, which will make sure that the client stays with you for longer and it reduces your risks. So there's huge opportunities that I don't think is that much used today, or being, yeah. What's your thought on that, Ned?
Well, I think one important correlation, but is maybe not super obvious, is that in some cases, or many cases, a simple product is actually going to be more expensive for the more normal sort of term life policies, or the more normal life policies, or health. And the reason it's more expensive is because by simplifying it, you've actually made it cover a broader range of risks. And so then the price has to go up. And so the complexity of all of these different products, with all these riders and add-ons and specific cases, is a way of trying to fit the product as closely as possible to the customer, and therefore get the best price. But unfortunately, you've pushed the sort of the complexity of that onto the customer. So, what I think would be really neat would be sort of using data analytics, again, machine learning models that match people to what they are most likely to need. And so it might be a complex product, but the complexity of choosing that product isn't pushed onto the customer. It's done via the data and the tech. Now, that, of course, relies on the customer trusting the insurer that what they're offering. And when we say this is the best product for you, the customer trusts that that is the best product for you. So then how do you build that trust? Well, then I think, Daniel, you're spot on. It's around that engagement, around, how do I constantly be seeing your brand? Am I engaging with your app? Am I talking to you? When we created the Sing Life account at Sing Life a couple of years ago now, the whole purpose of that was to build an engagement with the customer, understand them more, see how they operated, see what kind of things that they did, and then offer more appropriate products. And so I believe that building the trust, building the engagement, and then using some kind of data model to recommend the exact right product is where we should take this.
Yeah, just a final comment on that one, if that's okay. So stop wasting money on marketing, on tele ads and radio ads, and use it to provide better engagement with your clients.
Right, 100%.
Okay, so on that note, now thank you for our experts, Ned and Daniel. I hope that was useful to really understand what's happening in closing the digital gap. There's obviously a lot has been done in the industry to date, but a lot more to go. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Daniel.